Hello, hello. Hi again, y'all. I'm still trying to get this lighting down. I don't know how. Oh my God, that makes it look like I'm Casper the Ghost. I swear I'm not. Look at me. Maybe I am. Just the lighting in general. But yeah. Hope y'all had a great weekend and a great Thanksgiving. But for today, for today's video, I want to go a little bit more abstract with things I've been thinking about lately. So, more like how neurons and how there's more things to life that has agency and perhaps consciousness than we like to give it credit for. And what I mean by that is you can think of it kind of like a pyramid. I got this from Melting Asphalt, great blog. I highly suggest you read it. And very scientific in the way he approaches all his topics, but he put agency as in um, being able to interact with the world, with reality and the world. He put it into when he talking about the self as hierarchy, the self, the top, uh, at the top. So us, right? I, our actual selves being able to work through the world. And then he puts it into like our instincts. So, like our desires for lust, addiction, different hunger, thirst, the different instincts that drive us beneath the surface. And he talks about it kind of like different voice, like there's a voice inside of you telling you to do something, right? Right. So we all know, instinctually, oh no, intellectually know about, let's just say, a I can go on. I'm thinking of. Think about greed and lust. Let's just take, like, if you're a married man and you know that it's morally wrong and it's intellectually wrong to sleep with another person, but that doesn't really matter or to your instincts or what it's called your feeling brain. Mark Manson talks about. You got your brain, which is that self off, and then you got the thinking brain, which is, the feeling brain, which is speaks in emotions instead of words. And let's go back to our example. So for the person who's married, they know intellectually that whatever situation there is, that cheating is the wrong is not morally right. But in those situations, the feeling brain kicks in, right? It tells you to go do it, and because it speaks in emotion. It might not, I'd say it, as in an actual voice telling you inside your head, but it is an emotion that is pressing up against you and telling you to go and sleep with another woman. Um, uh, that's a bad way of putting it. Or if a woman's being is hitting on you, and your feeling brain is telling you to go and sleep with this woman, you yourself, um, or your thinking brain is combating against that feeling brain if guys aren't on the same page. Now, if your feeling brain is emotionally and emotionally connected to your wife or your husband, then both your thinking and your feeling brain are on the same page. So you don't have that contrast whenever a woman and comes up to you, starts flirting with you, because both your thinking and your feeling brain are both of, on the same page. So the willingness or that determination or the will or power to resist beautiful women, it's not really just your willpower. It's also your feeling brain that's contributing to that as well. And that's why it's so important to find a wife or a husband that you are so emotionally and um, emotionally connected to. Because if you're not emotionally connected to them, of course, this changes as almost every day and fluctuates. But in general, if your general pattern of being is that you're emotionally connected to your spouse, then whenever you have situations where lust can be exploited, you're less likely to do it. Because it's not just your thinking brain that's thinking about that is trying to resist is the cheating. It's also the layer beneath it at that feeling brain that also is resisting it because you are emotionally connected with someone else. So your feeling brain is like, go with you? Yeah, you might be hot, but sorry, I have such a deep emotional connection with someone else that I wouldn't want to do that in the first place. Of course, humans are much more complicated and intricate than just that one scenario, but that's a general understanding of it. And now you can kind of start to see how your our our self or that thinking brain and is not the only thing that has agency. You also have that feeling brain right underneath it, which is the instincts, right? It also has agency over yourself, and sometimes it comes to fruition and takes over and pushes you through it. And I forgot the third layer that Melting Asphalt talks about, but he also talks about how neurons also have their own sense of agency with them. And I'm going to butcher the explanation, but he talks about, I need to look at Daniel Dennett's actual speech on the topic, but Daniel Dennett and how he talked about these neurons and these molecules had to survive and evolve and um, compete with each other to be selfish in that, selfish to survive. So, in that selfishness to survive, they had to compete with other molecules and other neurons to become um, and evolve and to survive. And through that process, as they became inherently neurons specifically, it became selfish as in that they want to preserve their own self, and that gives the individual neurons in our selfishness. At least that's his argument for it. And you can kind of see that the agency go all the way down. Now, there's something that I wanted to talk about too, or think about and postulate. Not necessarily something that I've thought about or researched deeply, but I kind of want to push it a little further. That yes, you have your thinking brain yourself, you have your feeling brain, you have that third layer that I totally forgot. You have the fourth layer of neurons. But is it possible to go to the fifth layer to molecules in themselves having some kind of autonomy, or not autonomy, but agency, but just at such a low level that we we, we kind of dismiss it as not being agents of themselves, of wanting to survive in the world? Let's think about it a little bit in the physics perspective. So, oh, uh, solids are kept together, or molecules and molecules between each other, especially within solids. Well, molecules between each other are kept together by intermolecular forces. And so a lot of it is the polarity and the structure and pattern of these molecules within a solid that creates a force that keeps them together solid. It's the same with intramolecular forces. So you have the atoms and the electrons, ions and protons, and all the forces that are acting upon on all those different and I think atoms. I still need to understand the definition better, but all the forces within the molecule that are keeping together as well. Well, let's just think of intermolecular forces as that are keeping a solid together. If I'm the keeping the solid together, and in a sense, and those intermolecular forces, those molecules are trying to preserve its state, its its continuum solid state. And whenever I take a sledgehammer or slam it against the wall, I break that intermolecular force, and I break like the molecules quote unquote control to be able to keep the solid together. And I myself, as agent, is able to force the molecules also to break and thus break the wall in general. Now let's say I'm an idiot and I take my fist and slam it against the wall. Well, depending on what kind of wall it is, let's just say it's like I'm gonna show my ignorance on construction buildings. Let's just say it's like very thick piece of wood, like let's just say a tree trunk. Tree trunk thing thick. Tree trunk thick. Tree trunk thick. And I punch it. What's gonna happen? Well, my force isn't and strong enough to be able to break through that intermolecular force or that density within. And of course, there's more R to that than mass, but the intermolecular forces is that are acting upon that tree trunk, right? Right. So what it does is, ow, my hand hurt because the force within the tree trunk and the intermolecular forces within that tree trunk are greater than the force I'd be able to produce with just my hand and pressing against it. And in a sense, it's almost a force against a force. Ours is it's a force against a force. It's the a uh, me myself, everything that encompasses is my identity. The person I call Matthew Normand, and this is agent, and then against the agency and the force of the tree trunk and all the molecules, all and forces that are acting upon it. And it's almost like it's punching me back because in a sense it is because there's so much force within in the molecules that whenever I forced against hit my fist against it, the force is being and is hitting me back. The forces within and the tree trunk are hitting me back. And like I said, I'm still like thinking through this, and my understanding of chemistry and physics is also very, very, very limited. It composes of my high school. I don't even think not even college, my high school and the research I've done on the last couple days. So on that front, I will say it might not be the best evidence, but it's something to think about. And also, I think my tentative theory of molecules having consciousness, which is similar to panpsychism, and in a sense that almost everything has a consciousness, even in the what's it called, the wall, all but a consciousness, as in and the molecules themselves have consciousness and then contribute to the consciousness of the whole thing, and that consciousness is kind of the agency, and agency is something we can also explain in within certain parameters, right? Like plants, we can explain their agency, and that agency is actually the consciousness of the plant working because all the molecules and the electro. Oh, um, I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to be wrong about this, but the electronic currents and the hormones that are producing to send those send those like responses are also part of what we call consciousness. So, oh, still a theory I'm thinking about. I'm not 100% sure on it. By no means, not even 50% sure on it, but it's something I just wanted to throw out and think about and just ponder a little bit. Because especially in different, in multiple different circles, there is this idea that the universe is divine in of itself. You see that in Eastern philosophy with the Tao. So in the Taoist tradition, you also see it with scientists like Richard Feynman, Carl Sagan, how they talk about science and the complexity of the universe. It's almost like there's a divine aspect to it of the uh, being interconnected in a way that is beautiful and on it into onto itself. Um, so I think there's something a little because if for me if you have Eastern philosophy eh, that has survived hundreds of thousands of years, and then you have science which has given us as science as a philosophy has given us such high-tech advances in our society to the point that we've eradicated many different viruses and diseases and illnesses, and also transcended some of the impossible states as well, and are expanded our understanding of the universe. Both of them are talking about similar concepts and kind of maybe not agreeing wholeheartedly, but have similar concepts that they would kind of are explaining and agreeing upon. And it's something we need to think about, in that the universe is not, I don't want to say divine, but its complexity and convolutedness is a divinity of itself. I'll find a different word for divinity, divinity of itself. And with that, we can also think about how consciousness will play a role in that, and that maybe, just maybe, that divinity and that universe are defying that universe that the universe is divine in of itself, has some consciousness is at every single level within it, and that's why it is so divine and so sublime in and of itself. Weird theories, little off the wall. Tomorrow might be a little different. This one I'm probably not gonna edit. It's more for my musings and my thinking on the universe. I might write a book on it too. Oh, if I get more information and explanations from it, but who knows? The first book I'm writing is the one about belief, kaizen, love, values, and how you too can and build a belief or a philosophy, a moral system or philosophy, or pick the or pick create a philosophy or pick the philosophy that works best for you. So that book's going to be amazing. I've already got 14 pages and I can't wait. So, till next time, see y'all later.